70%.
But we own all the assets.
We can open channels to Europe, Asia, and even South America.
South America?
That's what I said.
In that case, we're prepared to go up to
70%.
Done.
A little education goes a long way. That's why the Georgia Lottery has raised over $13 billion for the Hope and Pre-K programs benefiting 2.5 million kids.
Disney on Ice presents Treasure Trove. At last, your treasured Disney animated films are now a super cool ice show. The fun begins at $25. Coming to the arena at Gwinnett Center March 28th through April 1st. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.
Dear Cat, your hair mixes with pollen and dust. I get congested, but now with Zyrtec D, I have the proven allergy relief of Zyrtec plus a powerful decongestant. Zyrtec D lets me breathe freer, so I can love the air.
Zyrtec D, behind the pharmacy counter. No prescription needed.
A Channel 2 Action News investigation found here in Georgia, African Americans are arrested more than anyone else for having marijuana. The city of Atlanta alone arrested so many black men and women, some ask if it's racial profiling. We wanted to find out.
That is just a bad practice of applying the law unequally.
Georgia State Senator Ed Harbison was shocked to hear that African Americans are arrested at a far higher rate than whites for possession of marijuana.
That's just wrong. I don't care how you try to cover it up, how you try to color it.
Our investigation looked at the total number of arrests for possession and compared the racial breakdowns to census data. What we found was revealing. For law enforcement agencies that made more than 100 arrests, we found 8 in metro Atlanta, among the top 20 that had the highest discrepancies between the African American population and the number of arrests made, including Fulton, Henry, DeKalb, and Carroll counties. The agency with the highest numbers, the Atlanta Police Department.
This is a difficult issue that is far more complex than numbers can illustrate. I can assure you, however, that the Atlanta Police Department is in no shape, form, or fashion racially profiling.
Last year, 93% of all marijuana possession arrests in the city of Atlanta were African Americans. Only 7% were white, while the city's population is 54% African American and 38% white. Reverend C.L. White of the NAACP calls it atrocious to have an arrest rate so high compared to the population.
That's profiling at its worst. You don't have to have done anything if they just suspect you might have done because you look like someone who might.
Greg says that's exactly what happened to him in Douglas County, where 66% of all those arrested for possession are African American. He says he borrowed a friend's car to run an errand when Douglas County deputies pulled him over for a broken taillight, and that's when the officer asked to search his car.
I got out the car in order to let him, search me to see if I had anything on me, which I didn't.
The deputy wouldn't let him go. Instead, he called for a police dog. The dog alerted, and officers found what his lawyer describes as a speck of marijuana. Greg was arrested. The charges against him were later dropped.
If they are overly zealous, they could give the whole department a bad name.
We asked the Atlanta Police Department why its numbers are so high.
The public rightfully demands that we patrol high-crime neighborhoods. Those also happen to be minority neighborhoods, and that's where a lot of our officer encounters happen.
It seems like it's a crime to be poor and living in a high-crime district.
Coming up at 6, we'll show you how much money the state spends enforcing marijuana laws, and 2 radical ideas tossed around now on how to cut those costs. If you want to look at the data we use to compile this story, go to WSBTV.com. And also, go to our website to see a county-by-county look at marijuana arrests, as well as a racial background of those arrested. You can find a link to the story on our homepage.
Time now to check the all-new stories coming up on Channel 2 Action News at 6. Monica Pearson live in the newsroom with a look ahead.
Thank you, Justin. We are inside an emergency meeting after an unexpected multi-million-dollar shortfall in a local school district that dozens of projects it could put in jeopardy.
Here on the 19th floor of a downtown office building is the headquarters of the Citizens for Clean Water 2012. The folks that want you to vote on that tax referendum in Atlanta next week. But guess what? No one here knows a thing about it. All new at 6.
And a new focus on Georgia ahead of Super Tuesday. The new resources the Republicans running for president now are sending to our state. That's tonight at 6 when I join you, Justin.
All right, Monica. Well, harassing phone calls late at night, threats of prosecution, even threats of some jail time for not paying a bill. The state says a Metro debt collections agency used those kinds of tactics, and now there's a huge settlement with the company. Channel 2's Tom Regan now live in Midtown with what the company said in its defense. Tom?
Well, Justin, the state fined this company $90,000 and put it on notice to stop its aggressive collection behavior. It has been the target of hundreds of complaints here and across the country.
Behind this nondescript mirrored glass office in Doraville is a debt collection company that state investigators call a poster child for bad practices.
I call them abusive debt collectors. I mean, this is a parasitical practice.
The head of the state's Consumer Protection Agency showed me details of a $15 million settlement with Dorsey